Okay, today we are going to talk about people pleasing. This is one of those imposter syndrome traits that I am very familiar with. I believe the first time I can think about people pleasing was way back when I was young. I, of course, wanted my parents to be proud of me. I was the firstborn. So, firstborn are generally the people who are perfectionists and try to do the right thing all the time because they want their parents to be proud of them. And then that transitions into school. And not only do you want your parents to be proud of you still, but now you want your teachers to be proud of you and reward you with a good grade. Because the more good grades you get, the more positive reinforcement you get at home. And people start to say, wow, she's so smart. Wow, she really knows her stuff. You start to get recognized for that. That continues throughout your educational career, however far you may end up going. You continue to look for the good grades. You continue to look for that recognition. And then as you transition into the workplace, you have that same experience. Now you want your manager to give some recognition to you. Sometimes that's an award, sometimes that may be a new job or a new opportunity. You want that recognition. And so you're doing whatever you can to be the person that gets the recognition. What happens though is sometimes you lose yourself in the mix. When you're a people pleaser, you're doing what everyone else wants you to do, not necessarily what you want to do. And there's a very important distinction there because what happens is that you start to lose trust in yourself. And people pleasers don't even realize that this is happening. They're just focused on the goal. I want to get recognized. I want to get the promotion. I want to be the person in charge of this new program or project. They're so focused on the goal that they don't realize that they've already kind of fallen into the background and that the person that they are isn't necessarily that the person they want to be. And I definitely felt a lot of this for myself. I definitely was doing a lot of people pleasing and focused on what everybody else wanted. And I kind of didn't even realize that was happening. It just over time, you just don't realize that it's happening to you. And the other way that people pleasing can show up is as a leader, when you're giving feedback to someone on your team. I know feedback can be challenging to give, especially if it's constructive feedback. When you're giving positive feedback, it's much easier, obviously. But if you're giving constructive feedback, you really have to be honest with the person. And for people pleasers, that's hard because they want to be liked. They don't want anyone to see them as not being in a positive place or not supporting their team. But if your team doesn't know or a team member doesn't know that they're doing something wrong, how are they going to change? If you don't tell them and no one else is telling them, how are they going to change behavior? And they're going along thinking that everything's great because you've given them the feedback that everything's great. And so they don't know any better. And then maybe a year from now, they wonder why they're not progressing. They're still getting good feedback from you. They're not hearing anything different and they're not progressing in their career. And now they're wondering what the heck is going on. So I would just ask you to leverage this format if it's helpful for you. There's a model that's called situation, behavior, and impact as a way to give constructive feedback, especially for people pleasers, because it gives you a framework to follow and it's very fact-based. So situation. When we were in the meeting yesterday, behavior, I saw that you really weren't participating as much as you usually do. Is something going on? Are you okay? Is there anything else that we could support you on so that you can help us make a decision on this? And the impact is that, the team felt like you weren't really engaged and we didn't end up making a decision as a group. And now we're going to have to meet again. So I went through those three things. You don't have to do them in that order. You can mix up the order of behavior, impact, and then situation, whatever makes sense for you. But it's a really easy framework to follow that focuses on the facts. It doesn't focus on making the other person defensive. It just talks about the facts of the situation. We were in a meeting yesterday. I didn't see you as engaged. So my observation is I didn't see you as engaged as you usually are. And the impact of that was that we didn't make a decision and now we have to meet again. So think about if you have to give constructive feedback, and you can also use that for positive feedback for that matter. It doesn't always have to be one way or the other, but think about the ways that you can leverage that and have the conversation, because as a leader, it's part of your responsibility to give feedback, positive and negative or constructive, to someone so that they can shift their behavior if they need to. Not telling them may feel easier in the moment, and people pleasers also like to avoid conflict. So it's really easy for them to think, well, I'll tell them later, or I'll wait and tell them another time, or they seem kind of upset right now. I don't want to upset them more by telling them this feedback. Feedback needs to be timely. It needs to be consistent. And we used to joke around and say, you don't want to wait for a birthday to come around before you give feedback. You definitely don't want to give feedback for the very first time in a performance review. They should have already heard this feedback. It should not be a surprise to them. And so I would just ask anyone who is struggling with people pleasing to really be aware of what they're saying, how they're saying it. Think about the ultimate goal is to help your person grow and develop. It's not to make your life easier. It's not to avoid difficult communication. It's not to, only talk about the positive things and never talk about things that could be improved. So think about that for yourself and how you can leverage, if that model works for you, that's great. But think about the things that you can do coming out of a meeting that would be very helpful for that person to hear, and let them know where they stand and what they need to do to maybe change their behavior or take different action. The more feedback that you can give them, the better off they're going to be, the more quickly they will shift their behaviors to where you want them to go. And I will tell you that a lot of generations actually are looking for feedback, especially millennials, Gen Z. They want feedback on a more regular basis. I would say boomers and Gen X, Gen X wants feedback, but they don't need it as often as the more recent generations. And think about why. They're getting feedback on a regular basis on social media. They're used to getting answers very quickly. They can go Google search anything in the world and get an answer. So the more feedback you can provide to them, the better off they're going to be, so that they continue to grow and move forward. I hope this is helpful. I would love to hear any suggestions or ideas of where you have maybe shifted your behavior away from people pleasing and moved towards being more neutral, much more focused on, is this the right thing for the organization? Is this the right thing for me? Am I showing up as my true self, or am I being something that someone else wants me to be? It doesn't help you grow as a leader, and you really want people to see you for the value and capabilities that you have. So don't hide behind people pleasing. Allow yourself to just be the person that you are, and let that leader show up to them so that they can see that. Okay, thanks.